that you might have to give up and maybe you don't have a choice. But I tell you, that is one thing that is sacrosanct: choice. You always have a choice, and one way to go about it is to always choose to win, to be better, and of course to change. Change begins with you and I. You're welcome once again to the Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM, the voice of the people. Like I said earlier, on Citizens Forum, we'll be looking at the NYSC scheme. There's so many issues surrounding this scheme. One major headache for the federal government itself is the issue of funding. Uh, in the course of research, we found out that more than 20,000 youth are churned out yearly from the nation's ivory towers. If you consider how much it costs to actually put the scheme together, the attire they have to actually put on for the whole year, and of course the stipends they are paid for that particular year, and so many other logistics, you find that running into billions of naira every year, and that's on the neck of the federal government. Beyond the issue of funding, there are those who are actually questioning the objective and whether the NYSC scheme itself has achieved that particular objective. Don't forget that when Nigeria Yakubu Gowon's administration initiated this in 1973, it was actually designed to promote national integration of over 300 ethnic groups in Nigeria. Have you been able to achieve this? Well, some have said that inter-ethnic marriages have happened. We have so many people have actually had some very fruitful relationships, even business relationships sometimes. Success story with other ethnic groups. But beyond that, is that sustainable? Has that culminated into unity and tolerance, peaceful coexistence in the society in general? Some have called for total scrapping of the scheme because they believe that this objective has not been met largely. And some have said, well, I think we need to continue to retain this scheme, and no matter how difficult it is for us to sustain it, no matter how difficult for us to fund it, we must continually do so. One other issue that is very much germane is security. Security of this Tibetan youth population. Many of them are deployed to very volatile areas, conflict-ridden areas, especially the northeastern part of the country. And if you come to North Central, we'll take the case of Jos. Jos has also been a flashpoint for many years, where many of these youth club members have lost their lives. Benue has had its own fair share of communal clashes, land matters disputes that have actually culminated into loss of lives and properties, and the youth club members are not exempted from all these skirmishes. If you come down to the southwest, well, you might say it's relatively peaceful, but gone are the days when youth club members are seen as government property, as guests that our people are so hospitable to, and do everything in their powers to actually satisfy them. Is that the same situation now? Somebody was talking about this yesterday and said, well, gone are the days when youth club members are well revered and actually taken care of. People see them as their own sons and daughters, and they're actually taken care of. Is that the same situation right now? There are some other alternatives. I'm sure that Agameri also has some of these alternatives that we might be looking at this morning. Agameri.
What more should be said after all said? Thank you. But just to add a couple of things more to that.
Yes.
This one of the objectives was to foster unity in the nation, and was meant to encourage intercultural relations and patriotism. Now let's mark the word patriotism to the fatherland. But today you can ask, how many of the youth are patriotic? How many of them are committed to the project for Nigeria? On another hand, there is a positive cultivate discipline in Nigerian youth by instilling in them a traditional industry of work and a patriotic and loyal service to the nation in any situation rather find themselves. Now, talking about discipline, is this are still achieving in service, and I would actually say that when you feel for the service, become that well disciplined. Okay, that's another question being raised for in Nigeria. When you look through, you can truly say that this is still really not happening amongst the youth today. Also, it is to raise the morale to Nigerians and the opportunity to learn about the higher ideals of national achievement and social and cultural improvement. Is this really happening in youth today? Quite a number of things, quite a number of issues, but I don't want to take so much of the time, so we can delve into this straight on this morning and then bring up issues and let's actually look at these. If some are clamoring for the scrapping of the state, should we really look towards that side?
Yes.
Look at that angle. Is it right? What are some of the benefits?
And the argument valid. Yes.
I know some youth who would tell you the youth will always look forward to going for service, except for some who would say, why should I go waste my time there? But really, let's look at this. Is it not a waste of time, or is it a waste of time in that sense? Because if you have to go for service a whole year, or maybe about 10 months, 11 months, and then you step to your place of primary assignment, and what you have to go do there is possibly teach. You were never in school. You were not in the faculty of education. You didn't learn what it means to teach. That wasn't even your discipline.
Especially when you studied petrochemical engineering, you were assigned to teach maybe physics in school. Well, that's another issue, but it's a whole kettle of fish, if you ask me. When you talk about the alignment of what students really study in the nation's tertiary institutions, and what they eventually end up doing as either profession or career or actually a job. If you look at it, there's so many university students that are now bank managers across the country. You begin to wonder, where's the alignment of purpose? That's even the kettle of fish. But let's focus on the NYSC scheme. Just like you said, we won't be doing this alone. That means it's not Agamero and I. I'll be doing this analysis alone in the studio. We have two gentlemen. We have Agamero in the studio to sandwich us, so it's not going to be all men talk this morning. We have two gentlemen in the studio that we'll be looking at this issue together. First, on my left, we have Adebisi Oyedele. He's a youth, and at the same time, he's a business owner who has actually earned himself some recognition as regards moving beyond the labor market. You also have on my right, Ifekayode Akinbode. He needs no further introduction. He's a friend of the house, one time a special advisor to the Governor of Ogun State, Tobi. He's also a youth leader and an activist. You're welcome once again, Ifekayode Akinbode.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Welcome. Adebisi Oyedele.
Thank you, Tobi. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right. Let me start with Ifekayode Akinbode. If you look at the scheme called NYSC, how would you assess the objective, the laid down objective, and what it was designed to achieve ab initio in 1973?
Yeah, thank you very much. You will recall that the advent of the National Youth Service Corps was a fallout of the Civil War of 1967 to 1970.
Yes.
And the country was in chaos. There was turmoil. There was total distrust among the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria as a result of the Civil War. And General Yakubu Gowon, in his wisdom, thought it wise that the best approach is to rebuild the nation by aligning the young people who hold the ideals of the founding fathers of this country so close to their hearts to relate, to integrate, so that we can heal the wound of the Civil War. I actually served, how many years ago? I think about 17, 18 years ago. And I can tell you, Tobi, it's one of the best moments of my life. I studied in Enugu State. I did my orientation at Ogu. Till today, I know the 17 local governments in Enugu. I related with the best of the people in Enugu. And I can tell you that we are still very much in contact to today. To me, what the National Youth Service Corps probably needs is retooling and rejigging. I do not believe in scrapping because it has a fundamental objective of national healing.
If I were to take you up on the issue of rejigging and retooling or reworking of the scheme, what would you be pointing at?
First is that nationally, there is a sense of distress among the young people of Nigeria. Over time, because of poverty, because of bad leadership, the young people of this country no longer believe in the nation called Nigeria. You recall that a lot of young people want to be out of the country, a lot of young people want to go into internet fraud because the values, the orientations, the ideals of the founding father of this country have been eroded. Therefore, we have to start from the cradle, from the young people, from the primary school, to give a new sense and psyche of orientation of what Nigeria is all about. Nigeria is known to be a nation of hardworking, honest, people of integrity. And this thing would actually cut across all sectors of the Nigerian nation. You will recall that in the last 15, 17 years, nobody celebrates excellence in academics. Nobody celebrates excellence in the media industry. Nobody celebrates excellence in any sector. What they celebrate is quick money. And that is the reason why when people go for national youth service, they don't go there because they believe that they are going there to integrate and contribute to the host communities. People go there to go and collect the stipend. People go there to possibly look for job, and people go there to wear the uniform and become celebrated as corps members and post pictures on the internet. That's exactly not the reason why the scheme was established. So we should go back to the basis. What was the reason for the establishment of NYSC? If we're able to reevaluate why it was established, as of today, do we still have relevance for the scheme? If you're able to answer the question, then how then do we retool and rejig? The word retool and rejig are the fundamental words that I want to harp on this morning. You can't throw away NYSC as a complete scheme because, like I told you, the best of friends that I've made 19 years ago are my best friends till today. I speak a bit of Igbo and I speak very fluently. Because when I actually started in Enugu, I started with Nigerian Television, Channel 8 Enugu, and I was the head of presentation for 1 year. And I met with those who were ruling Enugu State. And as a corps member, I was retained after my youth service there. Do you understand? It gave me opportunity to see that, after all, Igbos are not bad. They were accommodating, they were tolerant, they celebrate people out of their own tribal group. And I was like a hero.
Changed your
when I was going to start, my father was very apprehensive. My father was so, it's like, please be careful. There was no GSM, but yes, please.
A lot has changed.
Well, good morning, Nigerians. For me, my take here is when you look at the 1973, when this so-called scheme, NYSC scheme, was established. Among other reasons, I can tell you that encouragement and development of youth was one of the core causes there. And so you ask yourself, what is encouragement? It is the action of giving support, confidence, or hope to someone. That is one of the bases of NYSC. They are supposed to be giving support, give encouragement, give confidence and hope to those that going through the scheme. So my question is the NYSC as a scheme really giving hope to Nigerians youth? Is NYSC as a scheme really giving confidence to those that are passing through this scheme? Is NYSC as a scheme, is it giving, the necessary support to the youthful Nigerian? So these are very, very important questions that we should answer this morning. And another thing, Well, for me, I must tell you that
It's a yes or no question.
it is a no for me.
It's a no.
So I stand on maybe, scrapping, or, let's just redefine the scheme as a whole, and then let us have the aim spelled out, and then let us look at how to reach the goals.
If you say we should rework the aim, so let's redefine it, as you said, what alternatives would you bring to the table?
Okay, alternatively, like what the economy is going through at the moment, the economy recession, you discover that over time people have been talking about agriculture, talking about different way that can bounce the economy back, to its place, or if not improving it. You see that when agriculture as as an alternative is used, in the sense that, let us call, when the youth, the youth corpus, we could, do the normal orientation in camp, or, ask them what they want to do. Let's ask them some questions. There are some people that are, interested in agriculture. Some are interested in other things. Then let us get all these facts from them. Let us, instead of putting them through teaching or going to ministries, like Honorable Ifekayode has just said, he might be fortunate to have experienced, the advantages, the good side of the NYSC. And so he was talking about he worked at a radio station. What about millions of the so-called mass comm students that graduated then alongside you, that were not opportune to work in the same place where you were? A lot of them were teaching while you were in the radio station, and that made you, you met a lot of people. Who do they meet? They meet students. So we need to look at alternative, and I have mentioned agriculture. That is very, very important, that we should check agriculture very well. There are some youths, in my definition I talked about encouragement, and I said it is a way of supporting. Support has to do with you want to give them something to start something.
Not further buttress the belief that the initial objective of the scheme has been defeated. Let me take that to Honorable Ifekayode.
Once again, I want to say that I may not absolutely agree with your position. Like I earlier reiterated, it has to do with individuals. I recall that when I got to Enugu for my youth service, almost 19 years ago.
Yes. Did you work that out? Did you work it?
No way, I did not. I schooled in Ogun State, and I was posted to Enugu State. And when we got to Enugu State, where I was posted, a lot of my other corps members were telling me that, look, you don't have to do anything here. These Igbo people are bad. Just come on. People's perception actually was the basis for nonchalant disposition towards national issues. But because as a student leader in school, I contributed to the improvement of democratic institutions in Nigeria. I stood at the barricade, I fought for democracy. It wasn't about whether I was Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa. It was about interest in having a democratic institution that was better than military regime. So my orientation, my understanding of the national psyche was quite different from a lot of my mates, even way back then. People then were tribalistic about their disposition. I had the position and outward understanding that Nigeria must be one. So when I got there, I quickly got myself integrated among the Igbo people. I learned to speak Igbo things. I like to relate with them. I go to where a lot of elderly Igbo people were seated, and it was let me also take it back to BC. Look, from the orientation camp, those who studied mass communication were asked to come to the OBS. I did. We were auditioned. I was made the head of the OBS. It was not about because I studied mass communication. People studied sociology. People read English. They were in the OBS.
Those who were identified to have some kind of gift or talent.
You understand? You understand? So it was about personal conviction.
Okay.
Look, even here in Ogun State, we have people who believe that They are first and foremost Ijebu. People believe they are first and foremost Egba. These things will continue to eat deep into our national until we have a reorientation that Nigeria first, other things can come second.
Okay, now let me come back to you, Adebisi. You've raised a cogent point, the issue of agriculture. People have said that for us to move forward as a nation and become the envy of other nations, we might need to go back to the farmland. That interests me. But would you say that an average Nigerian youth is interested in tilling the ground and working, getting his hands dirty at the farmland?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me take you back to 2008. I served in Benue State,
Okay.
Boko Camp to be specific, and I believe it is now, situated in Makurdi. While I was serving, we formed a group in my platoon, and then the group was to discuss what next after leaving the orientation camp. Like after the 3 weeks, what do we do next? How do we, relate? How do we come together with other core members? Of course, the encouragement of meeting people is there, but of a great importance is what comes out of you after that 1 year. It is not by going somewhere to teach, going somewhere to do other things like in the radio station. Like now, you Honorable Ifekayode worked somewhere in Enugu then, but today he's doing something else. Now, professionally, some people want to practice what exactly they read in the institution. And so you discover that this is creating a lot of problem for us. For me, I read Geography and Regional Planning in Adebisi Oyedele University 2006-2007 set. And then before I graduated, I had my plans of what I will be doing when I'm done with school. So the thought of going after a white collar job was never there. Right?
Would you say that is a bit missing in the average Nigerian youth? They are taught and formed to depend on white collar jobs or blue collar jobs instead of becoming independent, would-be entrepreneurs or business owners so that they can become employers of labor that will drive the economy.
Of course, everyone cannot be like me. And then the other, corporate bodies, corporate organizations are there for people to work.
Yes.
So some people must nurture that opinion that, okay, when I'm done with school, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. They must nurture that, the opinion, so to say. So now it is left to the person in question to look at the possible, I often tell people that when you're growing up, you need to avail yourself of other opportunities around you. That is, you need to try and know so many things about other things, not necessarily your discipline. As you are, for instance, I read Geography and Regional Planning. I'm not supposed to be doing business today, but I have, I have that, in mind years back that, I am going to be in business. And then I have it well designed that this is how it's going to kick off. This is how I'm going to do it. And glory to God today. So now going back to your question of if an average Nigerian will want to till the ground, I want to tell you that it is all about orientation. You must make these people know the importance of this so-called agriculture. Now, from the news I heard some days back, I think our benchmark rises of some 20% or sorry, some $20, upward. So that is a very good news for Nigerians, but it is not enough. Let us, come down to that drawing board of agriculture. Very, very important. Now, how do we go about this?
Yes. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. How do we go about it?
How do we incorporate this with the NYSC?
With the NYSC.
Yes.
Now, let us have a full orientation camp for that 3 weeks that is based on what the Nigerian economy needs at the moment.
Okay.
Because all these things you are telling them in the NYSC camp, they've been taught in school. You tell them about self-reliance or whatever, they've been taught. Let us bring them together and then tell them the necessity of this agriculture. And this will help this nation. Because you know how many youths are serving for, in our days, how many years ago, maybe some 9 years ago, you discover that the numbers of COP members has, increased, drastically today. And so if we have started such some 9 years ago, by today we should be reaping the dividend.
Okay, now,
I'm talking about the
yes.
rise of number of home members. That should take us to the issue of funding. Because the federal government is going through a whole lot of changes
I tell you.
today. Even the the corpers, the scheme itself is suffering as well. Because you get to, Tobi, when he was doing the introduction, he talked about how much, what the kitting off, the kitting off of the covers, how much goes into it, even the feeding, while
in camp.
and other things. Now let's look at the present state of the economy and the funding of the NYSC scheme. Just a few weeks ago, was it last month, when we had the head of the scheme saying that they did not have enough money or enough funds to make all the scoppers to go for the orientation this year. That's talking about the single area, and some will have to go in February. Now, people are still wondering if the government or the federal government is having challenges with the funding of this scheme. Shouldn't we rather think towards making this, a thing of the past? Let's let this scheme rest, okay, so that the youth can move forward and do some other things. So that, like you talked about agriculture, why can't we have another scheme instead of having this particular one called NYSC? Let's talk about the funding of it.
For funding, I must tell you that it has been a great issue over the year. And then yeah, like I said, it has been a great problem over the years. And if you look at, for me, when I served in Boko, Benue State, something happened in the camp. Very pathetic. Now, we were supposed to be given some stipends over there, and then the officials there delayed this money, and we got to discover at the end of the day that they fixed that money for close to a month, such that the money was made available then. The issue of funding is something,
You also have corruption.
it has a lot of corruption inside it. A lot of corruption. Now, let me tell you this. Now, after we discovered that, we raised alarm. The student began, a peaceful protest. The core members, so to say, we began a peaceful, protest, and then eventually they saw that this is going to get out of hands, and then they paid us. Now, a lot of people are getting contracts from NYSC. They contract these khaki, the jungle boots, the sneakers, the what have you. They contract them to some contractors. I must tell you this, that it has always been based on agreements.
You mean in connivance with the NYSC officials?
Sure. So this has been based. These are issues that are attached to the funding. So unfortunately, I want to believe that all these kits are not even needed in the first place. We don't need them.
Okay.
Instead of enriching some people, in
the process.
In the process.
Okay.
Now today the number of graduates have slumped.
Yes.
Can the federal government, even in collaboration with the state government, still fund this scheme?
I think that we are still getting something fundamentally wrong in this conversation. there is no sector of the Nigerian nation that is not bedeviled with corruption.
Yes.
Judiciary, executive, the legislature, an average Nigerian is corrupt. For the fact that there is corruption somewhere in NYSC doesn't take away the fundamental objective of the founding fathers of the scheme. We should get it clearly. What I said from the beginning of this conversation is that we should retool and rejig. And I think BC actually agreed with me to a certain extent. If you say agriculture is very key to nation building because of the economic recession, absolutely. It's part of retooling and rejigging. You know,
we should incorporate.
Don't also forget that no nation can survive without the energy of its youth. The average youth will go to camp between the age of 19 and 29. I want to believe that the average Nigerian graduate should be between the ages of 19 and 29. That's the strength. That is where they are productive. Instead of just allowing them to go to orientation camp and be doing gala nights, doing cultural day, or whatever it is called, or campfire nights, you know, I agree that they must also do what I call some paramilitary training, because God forbid there can be, external aggression from another country.
This will have to be.
You understand? If they are given certain basic military training, discipline, like if you go to Israel, I was in Tel Aviv, I'm from Ben Gurion Airport in Israel, down to the streets of Israel, you find that young women, 18, 19, 20, were trained in military. They were carrying rifles, and they were the strength, and they are still the strength of the Israeli nation till today. But if we do not tap into the energy, the resourcefulness of the Nigerian youth, this is what we will find. I agree that there is corruption virtually everywhere, but if the country today decide to rejig, to retool, and create certain new objectives in addition to, integration of the Nigerian nation, this call will still be the better for it. In terms of funding, nothing is ever enough for any nation. Even in America, supposedly the biggest country in the world, you have financial challenges. But what we can do is...
And then billions of dollars of debt.
All over the world, even in China. You understand? What we can now do is that, okay, apart from agriculture, technology. A lot of people, like you said, I wouldn't mind teaching, because it is part of contributing to nation building. If you study chemical engineering and you have to go to a remote part of a particular state to teach physics, you are imparting knowledge. It's not as if that 11 months will determine your future. It doesn't determine it. You read geography and urban planning.
But of course, it determines some people's future.
In some people, that is not going to be absolute.
Okay.
Myself in your estate.
Yes.
Okay. I was opportunity to be in the market, maybe because I was very active while I was.
Yes.
I was too.
You get it. But the fact still remains. I was taught to talk to teach. I was happy doing that because I had to impart.
Good.
You get it. And I knew that it wasn't just about being in there. I've always lived with. I know what I'm doing. I have the filters. I have a plan, and I'll go all out to get those things done. And whatever opportunity I have, I always hold on to it and use it well. But the truth is, some never got themselves back even after being in there, because some were thrown into far further states.
Yeah, that takes us to the issue of security. We'll have more time to talk about security, but let us also look at we'll try to calculate how much it might cost the NYSC or the federal government
For one member.
For a youth member for a whole year, and see if we can total that, and see if we had released the fund that been issued after the three weeks camp and say, okay, go start up a business, go do this, go start a farm, and let's see the exponential effect on the national economy. I think we'll try to do that. I made an error earlier. I said that 20,000 I churned out yearly. No, that was when it started in 1973. Yes. 20,000 per annum. But as of last month, because of research, I saw that it has risen to over 300,000, and that is because they are not all students are called up for the service. There are some
they go in batches.
They go in batches, and
some even in streams. Stream 1, 3, 2, 3.
I tell you. All right, we'll go to break for the national news now. After the national news, we'll come back. We'll still have in the studio Adebisi Oyedele and Ifekayode Akinbode. Stay with us.